a direct method, okay, they would say that these are the uh, grammar translation method will be focusing on reading and writing. And next time we have observed that um, direct method was quite opposite, and direct method was speaking and listening. Okay, so we have also had a discussion, comparative discussion between direct method and grammar translation method. Yeah, here this is audiolingual method, and this method focuses on oral skills. Okay, oral skills. And it aims to improve students' speaking achievement. Okay, and language items are presented to students in spoken form without reference to the mother tongue, so that they can learn language skill effectively. So whatever, in case of English language teaching or um, any other language teaching, especially the L2 language teaching, it is assumed, it is observed that mother language can be the barrier. Barrier in which way? If mother language is allowed to apply in second language teaching and learning scenario, the learner's cognitive or cognition will not be developed. And for this reason, is it assumed that mother language shouldn't interfere in second language acquisition. So in audiolingual method, that method focuses on oral skill, and next time that method discourage the uses of first language or mother language. Okay, and uh, yes, it's a larger scale. And audiolingualism aims to promote mechanical habit formation through repetition and the basic patterns. Next time, you see that direct method, that also we have seen that oral communication will be there. But audiolingualism believes that repetition, and repetition in which way? Repetition in such a way, repetition will be the habit of action if you do it repeatedly. Okay, and naturally, and through the repetition, that means doing a thing again and again, that action will be the part of your habit, and we can do it many frequently, quite effectively, if it becomes the habit formation. I can give you the examples. Actually, driving is very hard, and especially driving becomes challenging in Dhaka city, especially. That would be very much problematic and challenging. But you see that in the local bus drivers, they might have not proper training, okay, but they drive the car, bus, right, public bus quite easily, and with talking, with gossiping, with at the time of doing eating many things, they are driving. So that has become their habit formation, a habit of formation. Audiolingualism believes in such a way. That means if you repeat a sentence several times, okay, then it would be a part of your behavior. If you repeat 100 sentences several times, so 100 sentences will be the part of your behavior, and you can pronounce and produce that sentences quite frequently because it would be a part of your behavior. Okay, and that would be the main principles of audiolingualism. And how that habit will be formed? Through dialogues and drills. Okay, and here spoken language comes before the written language. So audiolingualism focuses on oral methods and oral proficiency, and simultaneously drill and repetitions. Drill, dialogue, repetitions, and conversation will be the basic tenets, will be the basic principles of audiolingual method. Okay, uh, Professor Lenson Brooks, he is believed to be the pioneer of this method. Okay, and the basic principles of audiolingualism. that is, language forms occurs most naturally within a context. The native language should be kept apart in order to prevent its interference on the target language. Actually, that I have said, that means it is said that first language or mother language shouldn't be the thing that will interfere the second language learning. The major role of the teacher is that of a model of the target language. This will be the audiolingual methods. And audiolingual methods also believes that accurate pronunciation, grammar, the ability to respond quickly, accurately, his situations, and the knowledge of the sufficient vocabulary to use with grammar patterns. These will be the um, principles, further principles of audiolingual method. If you go further, there is an example over here. I think that will help you. I ate an apple. Okay. So the teacher will say, I ate an apple. The students will say, I ate an apple. 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 Then teacher quickly prompt, I ate a banana. I ate a banana. I ate a banana. That means I ate an or I ate a. That becomes quite similar. Next time, apple will be replaced by banana. Okay. So here quickly, or rather, I ate an apple, or the teacher will show a picture. Okay, in such a way, this repetition will be done. And if you look at the background of this method is also called army method. Why it is called army method? We will know it later on. Okay. So drill, memorize vocabulary, students inviting to learn directly without the teacher of the native language. These are the things of audiolingual method. Okay. Background. If you look at the background of audiolingual method, as we have learned in second classes, that every method will have some design, background, principles, teacher's role, learner's role. So what would be the principles and other things of audiolingual method? We will try to understand. In 1929, the Coleman report recommended a reading-based approach in foreign language teaching. And reading comprehension is the main way of teaching foreign language, where rapid silent reading is encouraged. Silent reading, okay. Reading is a habit. Most probably you have a course in the first semester here in MA Professionals at Jagannath University. That reading habit, Reading habit, how? There are some principles what will enhance your reading capability, and there are some bad habits that will slow down your reading speed. Yeah. So here Coleman said that rapid silent reading. That means making the reading materials in front of you, not so uh, far, not so close to your eyes, and without any kind of movements in your lips, or without any kind of sound at the time of reading, you will, or the second language learner will read rapidly without creating any sound, without creating any movement, without any movement of the head or hands, etc. So that was the concept delivered by Coleman. Teachers discuss the content of reading text in English for the region of which some linguists like Darian called audiolingual method, modified direct method. Okay, so after Coleman, Darian claimed that what is the difference between audiolingual method and direct method? Direct method focuses on oral proficiency, and this audiolingual method, what we are discussing. What is the difference? Okay, so some critics say that there is no difference. Okay, but a systematic approach to treat sentence pattern, grammar, vocabulary is applied in audiolingualism. Not much emphasis was given to grammar, sentence pattern, and vocabulary for beginning, intermediate, and advanced learners. Okay, so we can think that it is quite similar to audiolingual and direct method, but here there are some pattern and some oral proficiency that is developed in a different way. Okay, direct method will be emphasizing on uh, oral skill, and also audiolingual method will be emphasizing on oral skill. However, the way audiolingualism will be taught to the second language learner, that is a bit different. Let's see. So we are discussing about the background, especially with the comment of Coleman, Darien. Okay, there in actually the US entry to the Second World War had a significant impact on foreign language teaching in America. How? US government was trying to have officers who were fluent in German, French, Italian, Chinese, Japanese, Malay, and other languages. And those persons could work as interpreter, courtroom assistants, and translator. Why? US Army had been fighting against German and other French and other Italian. Okay. So the soldiers, that means the US soldiers, they could not understand their opponent's language. Okay. What is their opponent? You know, at the time of the war, soldiers will be using some code. That code can be decoded only the personals. That means army persons or the soldiers. Okay. So the US Army had a problem. That means what is going on in their code or in the opposite parties or opposite groups language. And for this reason, US Army had a problem. They couldn't understand the other opponent parties or groups language. And for this reason, US soldiers or US Army had a necessity to have the persons who can learn this language: Chinese, Japanese, German, French, and Italian. And what happened? To fill the demand of the US Army, it was necessary to set up a special language training program in America. What it is? US government commissioned American universities to develop foreign language teaching program for military personnel. Okay, so among the requirement, what requirement was that? Army required that they need some soldiers. They will be learning the language, that means French, Chinese, Japanese very quickly. At that time, US government responded their appeal and they initiated a quick program to teach the military personnel. An Army Specialist Training Program was established in 1942, in which 55 American universities were involved at the beginning of 1943. So getting the requirements of the Army and after the demands of the US government, 55 US universities, you know, there are many famous universities are there in America. Among them, 55 universities involved in this second language teaching scenario. And for this reason, this method initially is called Army method. Okay, because in the background, the Army, US Army demand that they have some method to teach the soldiers very quickly. The objectives of Army program was to attain the conversational proficiency in a variety of languages. Leonard Bloomfield at Yale developed a foreign language training program, but textbook was unavailable. Bloomfield's technique was known as formant method. Formant method, what is? A native, where a native speaker becomes the informant. Information, তথ্য, আর যিনি ইনফরমেশন দিচ্ছেন তাকে আমরা বলছি ইনফরমেন্ট। In Bloomfield's technique, a native speaker becomes the informant in audiolingualism. Who was the source of phrase, vocabulary, sentence, or grammar? So let's meet the Army method established. Army Specialist Training Program was initiated in 1942. And then the Bloomfields proposed a technique. Which technique? That are native speakers. If anybody wants to learn the German language, a German's native speaker will play the role of an informant, and his activity will be the source of phrase, vocabulary, sentence, and grammar. Okay, next move on. Whereas a linguist was assigned to supervise as well as to elicit the basic structure of the language. Okay, that means you know the contraction. Okay, contraction. The process is that I can do it. I can't do it. I will be there. I'll be there. That means I will be. These three words will be contracted. দুই সাইড থেকে যদি আমরা চাপ দিই তাহলে ছোট যেমন হয়ে যায় সেটাকে আমরা বলছি I will be. So the informant will be delivering phrase, grammar, and structure. In the previous slide, we have said. And after that, a linguist was assigned who will supervise and to make the language shorter. Okay, just that would be helpful for the oral communication. This is the way of audiolingual method or technique of audiolingual method initially. It was not necessary for the linguist to know the language. However, to reduce the basic structure for the conversation was the linguist's duty. Okay, so that is his duty. Learners and linguists were to take part in a guided conversation with the presence of informant. Guided conversation, what type of conversation it is? One will be the guide. That means teacher will say the word, repeat after me. That we will start with the very word, repeat after me. Okay, so one will be the guide and one will be the informant. Informant will be the native speakers, and guide might be the someone who might be from the target language speaker. Okay, so he will be the guide. He will say one sentence, and the remaining other students or the learners will be producing the remaining. So that would be the procedure of learning second language in audiolingualism. Learners gradually learned how to use the language as well as to understand the basic grammar in basic grammar of the language. So you may ask the question, that is, what is the situation? What is the how many times I will pronounce or I will repeat the sentence? Learners study 10 hours a day, 6 days in a week, 15 hours drill with native speakers, 20 to 30 hours of private study in 2 to 3 6-week session. Small classes with matured and highly motivated learners made this method effective. Look here. 10 hours a day, 6 days in a week, 15 hours drill with native. That means in a week, we know 7 days. Out of the 7 days, he or she has to employ 6 days. That means in a week, 6 times 10, that means 60 hours. And within the 60 hours, 15 hours drill with the native speaker, 20 to 30 hours of the private study, and in 2 to 3 6-week. So 2 to 3 or 6. So 2 to 6 week or 2 to 3 weeks within this small time, small group, and the learner should be motivated. You know, there will have some intrinsic motivation and there will have some extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, I have to do it. So in case of audiolingualism, the learners at the initially, the soldiers, that is their position, that they have to fight against their opponent. So that is their requirement, that they have to learn the language in any way. So they are highly motivated. And in this way, audiolingualism is started, and the basic drill, the massive drill, okay? And with the massive drill, with the small group, made audiolingualism successful at the initial stages, okay? So army method lasted only for 2 years, but it attracted the attention of popular press and academic community. So that is the history that audiolingualism started a journey with the US military involvement in the army, and next time they were initiated their things. Okay. The next 10 years, linguists discussed the suitability of army method in regular language teaching programs. Linguists say there is no basic difference between direct method and army method. Okay, so after 10 years, that was a discussion. What would be the differences between direct and the other method? And they also say that these are oral-based approach of language teaching and learning where there is no theory. The linguist, this becoming the major international power, America. So after the Second World War, America got victory, and America became the superpower. In the first class, we have said that actually why a country's language will be learned by others. I said that three powers should be there: military power, economic power, and cultural power. After the victory of the Second World War, America became the powerful country in all aspects: military power, economic power, and cultural power. And at that, and uh, international powers and thousands of foreign students entered US universities for higher studies, many of whom were required to attend English training program before they start their studies. That is the situation. And whenever, most probably many of you know that foundation program. Foundation program means the European countries, they think that IELTS score is enough for admission at universities. But if any student fails to sit for the IELTS examinations, then university will offer a conditional offer. What type of it? They will say, okay, we will take it in our MA program, but before starting the MA program, you have to attend a foundation program. That means 6 months English language training program. Okay, this is called foundation program. After the US victory in the Second World War, large number of students started going to USA. And many of you, they wouldn't have the sufficient knowledge regarding English. So at that time, the American universities, the academics, they say that we are in need to teach and training these expertise foreign students. Okay. One time in student, they have to teach, and also the person, they go in America for high standard of living. So they are called the expertise population. So to the large number of students and also the population, they are supposed to teach this language. So that is their requirements. And observing these factors, that means কয়টা factor? যখন আমেরিকা দ্বিতীয় বিশ্বযুদ্ধে জয়লাভ করলো, তখন অসংখ্য লাখ লাখ মানুষ আমেরিকাতে যাওয়া শুরু করলো, যারা আমেরিকাতে হলো সেটেল হতে চায়, যাদেরকে আমরা বলছি এক্সপার্টিস। ওকে, যারা হলো ওখানে সেটেল হতে চায়, ইমিগ্রেন্ট পপুলেশন। কেন যাই? যে কারণে আমরা আমেরিকা যাই, ভালো জীবিকার জন্য। আর আরেকটা গ্রুপ হলো ছাত্র, যারা ওখানে লেখাপড়া করতে গিয়েছে, তাদেরও ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ নলেজ খুব সাফিসিয়েন্ট না। এই যে গ্রুপগুলোকে কি করাতে হবে? ইংরেজি শেখা দিতে হবে। These factors led to the emergence of the American approach to ESL, English as Second Language, which by the mid-1950s had become audiolingualism. Okay, so if you see that audiolingualism started in 1940 as the initial name of Army Specialist Training Program, and that method became audiolingualism with the requirements of academies in 1950 decades, within the middle or mid 1950 decades. Okay. So back in 1939, University of Michigan developed the first language institute in the United States, and it emphasized the training for the teachers of the English as a foreign language, as well as teaching as the second foreign language. Okay. And next time, Fryer initiated some grammars and structure, and these are the things that happened in case of audiolingualism. And not only Michigan University was involved in language teaching, Georgetown University, American University, Washington, D.C. University, Texas, and Austin. These universities involved in foreign language teaching. Okay. In 1950, American Council of Learned Societies, under the contract of the U.S. State Department, was commissioned to develop textbook for teaching English to the speakers of wide number of foreign languages. Emphasis were given to pronunciation, morphology, grammar. So these are the things going on in case of second language learning, especially for audio lingualism. Okay. And in this case, actually, the emergence of audiolingualism method resulted from the increased attention given to foreign language teaching in the USA. And the launching of the first Russian satellite in 1957 acknowledged US need for a more intensive effort to teach foreign languages in order to prevent Americans from becoming isolated from the scientific advances made in other countries. So, after the Second World War, America got economic power, but the other world, they were getting enriched for their technological advancement and scientific advancement. So America thought that they want to be not lagging behind. They do not want to put them in isolated in competitive scientific and technological world, and they initiated this program, that audiolingualism, and especially the foreign language teaching program. And okay, so if we history and origin, the term audiolingualism was coined by Professor Brock. We have said that, okay, and audiolingualism structural linguist. Okay, so we have discussed, actually, if you want to discuss a detail more, okay, if we get the idea, then if you want to uh, discuss a little more, that means how habit formation works. Okay, Darwin's On the Origin of Species promoted positivism and empiricism, that the theory that all knowledge is based on experience and derived from the sense is stimulated by the rise of experimental senses, okay, which was encouraged language study in a more practical way. Okay, so when habit formation will be the way, their uh, positivism and empiricism, this theory will be approached or applied in this audiolingualism methods. Okay, and any language is viewed as a system of structurally related elements like phoneme, morphemes, word structure, and sentence and types. And these are the things regarding audiolingualism. Okay, so if you see the other things, that means these pictures, these images are taken from your book. Okay, there you will see this, the theory of language. Okay, reinforcement will be there, and also the other things. Okay, here stimulus, organism, response, behavior. Okay, that would be there. Okay, uh, and these are the principles that we have discussed. Okay, just we will be reading the first line. Foreign language learning is basically a process of mechanical habit formation. And language skill are learned more effectively if the item to be learned in the target language are presented in spoken form before they are seen in written form. Okay, so that is the principles of audiolingualism, that is spoken aspects of the language will be delivered first. Analogy provides a better foundation for language learning than analysis. Okay, and explanation, analogy involves the process of generalization and discrimination. So there will be there many meanings. The meanings that the words of the language have for the native speakers can be learned only in a linguistic and cultural context, not in isolation. Okay, so this would be the, and there will be the design. Okay, audiolingualism or lingualists demanded a complete reorientation of the foreign language curricula. Like the late 19th century reformers, they advocated a written to speech-based instruction with the primary objectives of oral proficiency and like that. Okay, this will be the objectives other well. Brooks distinguishes between short-range and the long-range objectives of audiolingualism program. Short-range objectives include training in listening comprehension, accurate pronunciation, recognition of speech symbols in graphic signs on the printed page, ability to reproduce these symbols in writing. Okay. These immediate objectives imply these three others. And also the long-term objectives, look here, and the end must be language as a native speaker uses it. There must be some knowledge of a second language as it is processed by a true bilingualist. Okay, so these are the objectives, and also the syllabus will be there. Okay, the language skill is taught. Audiolingualism is a linguistic and a structure-based and approach to language teaching. So the structure will be there. In foundation for English language teaching will be there. Yeah? Prior and fires. Yeah, the language skill are taught in order to listening, speaking, and reading and writing. This will be there. Okay. So this will be the syllabus of their types of learning and teaching activities. I have said dialogues and drills. Dialogue and drills. And dialogues will be guided by repetition and memorization. So these are the types of activities will be used in this method. And there will have some things that would be the major examples. What type of drills and pattern will be there. I hope you will find pleasure in this regard. Repetition. Repetition will be there. This is the 7 month. This is the 7 month. The teacher will say, this is the 7 month. Learner will say, this is the 7 month. After all student has repeated the utterance, he may repeat it again and add a new word. Then repeat the whole utterance and add a more word. Example, I used to know him. I used to know him. I used to know him long years. This is the second sentence. And third sentence, I used to know him years ago when we were in school. Look here. প্রথমত যেটা দিয়ে শুরু করেছে টিচার বলবে I used to know him. লার্নাররা সবাই বলবে ওকে তারপরে I used to know him long years একটা যুক্ত করলো বাড়ালো পরে আবার লার্নাররা আবার বলবে পরে আবার বললো I used to know him years ago when we were in school. Okay, so this is called the repetition. Drill will be there. In inflection, examples is that I bought the ticket. I bought the ticket. Okay, he bought the ticket. Look here, everything is he is used instead of I. And she bought the candy. Look here, candy, ticket, candy, tickets, candy, and he and she. I called the young man. I called the man young. I called the young man. Okay. Here, the young man. Here, replacement. He bought this house cheap. He bought it cheap. Helen left early. She left early. They gave their boss a watch. They gave him a watch. Okay. So here restatement. Tell him to wait for me. Wait for me. Ask her how old she is. How old are you? Okay. Look here. First time the teacher will say, the informant, they will say that, yeah. Informant will say a sentence and the learners will repeat that. And after that, the linguist will make it smaller or less. The structure will be smaller by the linguist. Okay. So ask John when he began. John, when did you begin? I will go my way and you go. I will go my way and you go yours. Okay. This will be the things. Transposition. I am hungry. So am I. I am hungry. So am I. I will never do it again. Neither will I. Okay. I know him hardly. I hardly know him. Okay? So these are the, put your hand on the table. Put your hand there. Okay, so this will be the technique will be used in case of uh, uh, audiolingual practice. Okay, and some other examples are there. So learners' roles are there. Learners are viewed as the organism that can be directed by skills training techniques to produce correct responses in accordance with the behaviorist learning theory. That would be so. Learner is the basic organism of audiolingualism. If learner do not respond, that method will not be applied. Okay. So this is the thing of audiolingualism. Teacher's role. Audiolingualism is a situational language training, and the teacher's role is central and active. It is a teacher-dominated method. The teacher models the learner language, controls the direction, pace, and learning everything. Okay, so learner's role will be there, teacher's role will be there, objectives will be there, role of instructional materials will be there, and there will be the procedures. Okay, and also some students first hear a model dialogue, and they will repeat that. The dialogue is adapted to the students. Certain key structure will be there. Students may refer the things or things. Okay. So these are the things of audiolingualism. So audiolingualism started its journey in 1942 as a name of army method. And next time in the second half of 50 decades, audiolingualism got its name, that is audiolingualism by the American academician and a linguist. Okay, so this method is we will have some syllabus, design, objectives. Okay, and also teacher's role and learner's role will be there. So there are some advantages of audiolingualism method. Listening and speaking drill are emphasized, and the use of various aids in effective and vocabulary teaching. And the method is just functional and to easy or execute the larger groups. Okay, correct pronunciation will be there. However, every method will have some disadvantages. So this audiolingualism will have some disadvantages as well. The behaviorist approach to learning is now discredited. It doesn't pay sufficient attention to the communicative competence. Okay. Oral language form is considered while meaning is neglected. Equal importance is not given to all four skills. It is teacher-dominated method. Okay, you may say that how it is a oral proficiency. Audiolingualism. Audiolingualism is based on the oral proficiency. So how it will not be enhancing the communicative competence? Look here, একজন ড্রিলের মাধ্যমে কাউকে যদি 100টা সেন্টেন্স শেখানো হয়, আবার যদি 200টা সেন্টেন্স শেখানো হয়, দেখা যায় যে 200টার বাইরে অন্য সেন্টেন্স সে বলতে পারছে না। ওকে, দ্যাট মিনস তার কমিউনিকেটিভ কম্পিটেন্সটা যে সিচুয়েশনে যে সেন্টেন্স গুলো উনি শিখেছেন এর বাইরে কোনো কিছু শিখতে পাচ্ছেন না। হয়তো কিছু উনি মেমোরাইজ করেছেন, এর বাইরে কোনো কিছু শিখতে পাচ্ছেন না। ফর দিস রিজন দিস ইজ অ্যান অ্যাডভান্টেজেস। সো দে উইল বি লার্নিং number of sentences, but their communicative competence will not be developed. Okay, and also the equal importance will not be given in all four skills. That means reading and writing will not be there. Okay, so this is audiolingual methods. Okay, and if we go very brief, actually I wanted to see and I wanted to put some questions over here. Okay, so if you look and if you read the slides earlier, okay, then you will get some things. Okay, what is the things? That means actually this is the situation. Many Bangladeshis go abroad for various reasons, and that is the situation that was created in America after the Second World War. Okay, so that is the background and other things relating to audiolingual method. Okay, so we will take some